Hi, everyone. Jack Duval here. I am going to be talking about defense stocks today, and I got a bunch of them here to look at. So, first, I just want to run through the primes and looking at a daily chart here, going back about 6, 8 months. So, here's Raytheon. You'll see it's come off the high here. Um, and, the big event, of course, is the election back here. So it trended down, came up, peaked around the earnings here, and now has come down. Of course, as Hegseth has been talking about 8% cuts. I'm going to get into that. Let's just take a quick spin through Lockheed Martin. Now, this has come way down, peaked out at the earnings report here back on October 22nd of last year or the day before. It's come way off down to 432 from up around 610 here. General Dynamics, similar type of pattern, reported earnings back here in October, peaked shortly thereafter and has come way down. Northrop, similar type of pattern, reported earnings, spiked up after the election, sold off. Boeing, I include this as a defense name. Anybody buying Boeing, I think, needs to have their head examined. This is a defense company in name, and they do some good stuff in defense, but it's a disaster of a company. Stay away from this. Avoid at all costs. They're interested in optimizing financially, and therefore doors fly off of planes mid-flight. It's just another accident away from, the 30% decline in my mind. Then there's non-prime. So let's look at these. Huntington Ingalls, which is now known as HII, got hammered in their earnings report back in October. Went sideways and has come down since. That's an interesting play. They're mostly a shipbuilding concern. So with the Trump administration focus on Indo-Pac, that's the Indo-Pacific, that's all about the Navy. So they should do well going forward. I'm not saying it's a buy here, but it's certainly something to watch. You got L3 Harris. I don't know them as well. They've had a huge decline, kind of that similar pattern to the primes, from 262 down to 194. That's one to look at. I'm not sure if that's a buy or not. Could be. AeroVironment, this is a great name, great company. They're where you want to be. They've recently made an acquisition of a private company, and that kind of took the stock down. And then they've gotten hammered over all this Hegseth stuff. I think this is way overdone. They are the future of global combat. They're drones. They do all kinds of stuff with unmanned aerial vehicles. They have fantastic technology that only got better with the purchase of that private company. I think this is a screaming buy right here. Kratos, similar name. They also do drones. They're a little bit lower on the spectrum, more attritable drones. They're kind of the Walmart of drones, but they are very, very good company. And when you hear about the Iron Dome, you've started to hear that for America, which is, I don't know, a little suspect in my mind. It works in Israel because it's a very small country. But Kratos is very involved with that. A lot of their drones and missile tech goes into that. And I think AeroVironment as well. And then the last name, just to do an overview of, is DRS. Now, DRS, very interesting company, well run. They're in a lot of different things for the Navy and the Army. They're also into drones. They're into AI. They have incredible sensing. Their sensor technology is fantastic. So They're another high quality name that I like here. So they just reported today, and here's the part that you need to know. Um, Basically, the earnings were good. I'm not going to go through all that. You can read that yourself. The guidance was good. So as far as the numbers, there's nothing but good news there. Nothing outrageously spectacular. They had a really good quarter, and it's full steam ahead for the next quarter and for the year. Now, there were some questions Rocket Ron Epstein asked about the Hegseth 8% stuff. Um, and what they said is what uh, I think has been misinterpreted is that people think that they're going to cut 8% out of the budget each year for 4 years. This is insanity. There's no such thing as going to happen. What they want to do is cut 8% and reallocate it into uh, whatever the Trump priorities are going to be, one of which is going to be uh, the Indo-Pacific. And obviously, you've seen Trump signal that he's not interested in European entanglements, but he is interested in Indo-Pac entanglements. So that's what you're going to see. You're going to see money reallocated. You're not going to see a 32% cut in the defense budget by the time Trump leaves office. It's just not going to happen. I've written extensively about this. Half of U.S. congressional districts have military bases in them. And if you think Republican congressmen are going to volunteer their constituents as tribute for budget cuts, you're smoking some of that ketamine that Elon Musk likes to take. It's just not going to happen. It's never happened, and it's not going to happen this time either. Congress controls the purse strings. Remember that. That's in the Constitution. So, hey, if the Supreme Court says that Trump controls the purse strings, then that'll be different. But I don't think that's going to happen either. So, um, anyway, I'm not worried about these names. I think on it, you want to be selective. You don't just want to buy them all blindly. But I think defense is a fantastic place to be. Now, in answer to Ron Epstein's questions, the DRS management said a couple of things that were interesting. Number one, as far as the executive orders, zero impact on defense budget. Zero. So just take the executive orders off the table. As far as the Hegseth 8% reallocation thing, they think more to the Navy, less to the Army, talking about budget allocation, more longer range weapons, right? We're not going to drive our $25 billion aircraft carriers into the Taiwan Strait. They won't come out. That's not going to happen. So it's more longer range weapons. It's more over the horizon sensing. And by the way, Biden was also focused on Indo-Pac much more than Europe, although he had to switch, obviously, and pivot to Europe when Russia invaded Ukraine. The continuing resolution, we've never had a continuing resolution for defense, right? Defense always gets carved out. They said it's a possibility, probably not as much in 25, could be, who knows? Could be 25, could be 26, but they think not because it's a bipartisan issue, and those few bipartisan issues that still exist out there today tend to get done just because people are happy to say, hey, we did something. So anyway, if we do get a CR, basically that means spending is frozen, so it would be some cuts, not huge, but cuts kind of all the way around a little bit. I think like single digit percentage, low to mid single digit percentage things. As far as Europe and all that, and Trump pivoting to being Russia friendly now, they thought that Ukraine would drop off some. But, and this is me speaking now, there's going to be a massive effort to rearm Ukraine. Um, so, yeah, they're not going to need maybe as many things right away, but over time, they're going to massively need to rearm. Because eventually, any peacekeeping forces in a demilitarized zone, those guys will fade away probably, and Ukraine will just be expected to defend its own borders at that point. And in order to do that, they're going to need a very strong military, and a very well armed, well equipped military. As far as NATO, obviously, Trump has shown a lot of disrespect to NATO. Does that mean they won't buy American? Uh, the DRS management thought that's not the case. There'll be a lot of urgency with NATO, and Europe doesn't have all the champions, the defense champions that they need uh, to buy their defense kit from those European champions. There are some great ones. Rheinmetall is a great company. Saab is a great company. Um, but they're going to need uh, exquisite and attritable drones and that kind of thing. And they don't have all that now. So they thought full steam ahead. NATO gives a lot of orders to U.S. defense companies. And of course, Trump will love that. So anyway, I think this sell-off is overdone. That's the bottom line. I'm less excited about the prime. So, the Lockheeds of the world that have had these big declines. Is this overdone? Probably. Will these come back? Yes. Not worried about that. But what I would call these more mid-cap stocks like the AeroVironments, Kratos, DRS, these are better names to own, because they're where the budget is going, right? Everything's going drone, it's going unmanned, it's going autonomous, it's going AI. These are companies that's basically their entire business model. Yes, Lockheed does that. Yes, General Dynamics does that. Northrop, Raytheon, all those. But they're not pure plays on that. These mid cap names are pure plays on the future of the armed combat, and it's going to be drone on drone, basically, at least in the first waves. So I hope that's helpful and makes sense to everybody. If you want to reach out to me, I do manage money. I run a small multifamily office and a crypto hedge fund. You can get all that on the website or the YouTube homepage there. Feel free to reach out. Thank you.